Bushcraft 412 with another knife review. In the past year, I've bought a lot of knives. I've really gotten into knives lately. They've kind of been, an area when I was younger I never really got too far into. I only carried, a pocket knife and never got into it. But now, with a little more experience, I guess I'm just more into knives, and I just keep buying more and more and collecting more and more. And this is one I picked up. This is not an expensive knife. I bought this, I think, more for novelty than for anything. This is a Schrade X-Timer camp knife, 6.5-inch blade. Handle, I can't remember the material offhand. Plastic. It's the line textured handle. Lanyard holder. Sawback's worthless. Go figure. Any knife with a sawback, generally they aren't that great. You can make some, notches and tent pegs and things like that, but this ain't taking down any trees. Let's be real here. Nice little knife. Price point on this, I think I paid $14. It may have been like 17 with shipping. Not an expensive knife at all. I took this out in the winter and did a little work with this in the winter, and for the price, this is actually not a bad knife at all. It comes with a sheath. The sheath is all nylon. It comes with a snap, and I'm not too fond of the belt loop. It's a big belt loop, so it kind of rides all over when you're carrying it, so I'm not a big fan of it, but it actually hides the knife away really good, and just the tip of the handle sticks out of there. So it's very secure, and it's got a snap button. Okay, but not my favorite. Back to the knife. Came pretty sharp. Surprisingly, Schrade, I know, was originally made in New York. Maybe about like 2 hours from where I live, and they closed down. And I believe most of their stuff's made in China. And I do believe the X-Timer line is made in China. I know a lot of guys get upset about that, but it doesn't bother me. This is what I would consider kind of a fun knife, a throwaway knife. This would be something I bring on an easy trip just to play with, but I ended up liking it a lot more than I expected. Very sharp, surprisingly sharp. It's a good bevel to it. And the secondary bevel is actually, and once again, I said it a million times, but I wish I had better camera equipment. Hopefully in the next month I'll be getting some and refilming a bunch of these. But the secondary bevel, not too shabby. Pretty sharp. It will take the hair off your arm. It's not razor sharp. But the secondary bevel is really nice and thin. It's not too deep, so it gives it a really good. It's a really good knife for kind of like carving and cutting. When you're working with small wood, it tends to really be nice and really work good. I did do a little shopping with this, because it is a 6-inch knife. This thing will chop, but you're not taking anything down more than a 2 or 3 inch branch. Way too much work to do more than that. Like I said, the sawback's kind of worthless, but if you're making tent pegs or something, it's kind of nice to have, because they're really not sharp. I mean, I could probably get in there with a file, but I'm not going to bother with a knife like this. The thing I like the most about this is the weight. When you are chopping, it has a nice, it has a lot of good forward weight and builds forward momentum. Maybe with a little work on the edge, this will be a better chopper. But I did do a little bit of batoning with it, not much. It does baton, not the greatest. But this right here, you can definitely process a fair amount of wood with this. And you can get a pretty good grip, on the handle. And the blade does come down right down to the base of the handle. So you can do some fine work with this too, if you're doing some fine carving. It will work. This is not something you can skin an animal with. It's not something you can clean a fish with. But, for cutting wood, normal camp tasks, decent knife for the price. A little bit on the heavy side. I believe it's a pound. I'm not really paying much attention to weight, exact weights. Weight doesn't bother me that much. I can carry a 60-pound pack. I can carry a 40-pound pack. I can carry a 20-pound pack. I grew up carrying 60-pound packs full of old military surplus, so an extra couple of ounces doesn't bother me. But if you're weight conscientious, this is not a good knife for you. Because you can go just a couple ounces more and upgrade to like a small machete. But cool little camp knife, and for the price, I'm going to keep this. I like it. I've used it a couple times already, and it's something it's something I might throw, if I'm on a day hike or something, throw it in my pack, just, if I want to clear out any brush or anything like that. But it's kind of a fun little knife. I'd actually recommend it, for someone who's just looking to get their hands on a couple different knives and try out some cheap knives. And that's it for now. Thanks for watching.